Hi, my name is Martin King. I'm one of the senior process engineers here at Legacy Chillers. This video today is part of our Smartdrop series that we answer questions about chiller systems submitted to our social feeds like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, also through our websites. Stick around for a couple of minutes and we're looking forward to showing you some really cool stuff. And at the very end, I'm going to give you an opportunity to submit some more questions to us. These videos are all about you. Today's question comes from Mike in Orlando, Florida. He wants to know the purpose of a city water changeover panel, also known as an emergency city water bypass. Let's check it out. So what we're looking at here is our city water changeover panel. This is the plumbing configuration for it. There's a lot more detail to the interface between the chiller and the city water panel. But to keep these videos brief, we're going to cover the basics today. At the end of this video presentation, you'll have an opportunity to submit additional questions to me. So if you find that what I'm providing today is not enough, definitely submit your additional questions and I'll try my very best to get them answered for you. All right. So what you have here is the wall-mounted city water panel that Legacy Chillers manufactures. We have these panels available with both filtered and non-filtered. So we're looking at a filtered version of it here. On the left-hand side, we have 4 connections here. So we have our city water inlet. Very important, if you buy a panel without a filter, you need to make sure that you have an external filter on here. Because if there's any debris or contaminants or whatever that makes its way in from the city water, you want to make sure that there's a place to stop it before it goes into your process. Some processes like CTs and MRIs do not deal with contaminants very well. So on the opposite end of your city water inlet, you have your city water drain. This is typically drained off to some type of a floor drain in the equipment room. You want to make sure that that drain is capable of providing enough flow rate. I always recommend a commercial industrial type of a drain. That way, if that drain plugs up, you're not going to flood your building. So that's a really important thing. You have your line here coming from your chiller. So this is the line coming from your process chiller. And then, of course, you have your going back to your chiller, right? So in normal cooling mode, when the chiller's programmable logic controller, PLC, is sensing no issues, everything's running normally, the way this will work is you have a connection between the B and the C, okay, on both of these valves here. So water will flow through here. It cannot go, there's no flow available here from the city water because of the configuration of the valve. This is a basic 3-way valve that is power open. In other words, it's powered to get a connection between B and C, and it's spring return. So in the case you have a power failure or something like that, in order to go into city water mode. That's a very important point to make. There's a check valve here to prevent backflow when you're in city water mode. So you go through your filter, mentioned that earlier, and then you go out to your process, whatever you're cooling out here, and then back from your process. Remember I mentioned we're connected between C and B because these valves are powered, and it goes back to your chiller. So that's basically a big loop. It just continues on in this path here. Now, on the legacy chillers, if you have any issue with respect to the chiller operation or the power gets turned off, whatever, the PLC will make the decision to de-energize the 2 actuators here, and that will force these 2 valves to connect between A and C. Okay, so we'll disconnect from B and C and we will connect to A and C. So A and C here, A and C here. So when we're in city water mode, we're coming through here. It cannot go this direction. It goes through your filter in this case. Remember I mentioned earlier though, if you don't have this filter, you need to filter it out here. And you go out to your process. You come from the process. Again, C and A and C are connected back to your going out your drain line, and that goes out to your floor drain. Now, there's a really important thing that needs to be understood about the city water changeover panels. These are not to be applied for any process, okay? Typically these applications, the city water changeover panel is going to be applied when you have what we call a mission critical application. So an application that regardless of what's going on with the chiller, it has to be cooled, whatever it is. And that's most commonly used for, but not limited to, CTs, especially MRIs, where you could have a large catastrophic loss of helium, which is very expensive, and so these panels can really help out. Now, you also want to keep in mind, before you purchase one of these panels, you also have to keep in mind the city water inlet temperature here, because some municipalities and your local water district should be able to provide you with this. Some municipalities, if they use what we call aerial storage tanks to store city water, those particular tanks can get quite hot during the summertime. So if your process requires 50 degrees, but your city inlet temperature can be 75, 80 degrees during the summertime, there's a good chunk of the year that you probably won't be able to use this panel. So you want to make sure you do that that kind of research. All right, so that's a city water changeover panel. Thanks for your interest. All right, well, that's your Smartdrop educational video for today. Thanks again for stopping in and hanging out with us for a little bit. If you have any questions that we can answer for you, please don't forget to submit to our LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter feeds. You can also go to our website and submit questions to us there. We're looking forward to working with you. And if you happen to have any process chiller needs, we're here to guide you through the process to a successful project. Thanks again. My name is Martin King. I'm with Legacy Chillers, and I'm happy to meet you.